Well, the Data Transparency Coalition is the only trade organization that lobbies for open data. The 27 companies that we represent believe that open data can transform government and society, and that is our mission as we advocate in Congress, as we seek to persuade agencies, especially on the federal level, to standardize and to publish their data. Well, many of the open data policy changes that we're seeing in these early days have been advocated using language like transparency. But transparency is only the beginning. Open data doesn't mean just transparency. It also means new management tools for the public sector. It also means it becomes possible to build a TurboTax for everything, to automate compliance tasks that used to be manual. Frankly, I think that the impact of open data in government management and in compliance automation is either as big as, or maybe even bigger than, the transparency impact. The immediate impact of open data is that it allows citizens to connect to their elected representatives and to the public servants who serve them in new ways. But that's not all. As open data infuses new management tools and the public sector begins to function more efficiently, that benefits everybody. And in the broader economy, as compliance costs go down, as lines of code replace layers of lawyers, that's an economic benefit. And I think the economic impact that open data will make in the compliance area is comparable to when we started putting a desktop computer at everyone's workstation. It's going to be huge. It isn't yet. Government needs to make a choice. Government needs to choose to replace disconnected document-based reporting with structured, machine-readable open data. Now we see this beginning, particularly in areas like energy, like transit, like local funding. But in the areas where that change will have the biggest impact, it's only just beginning. One of the best examples is regulatory reporting. On the federal level, most regulatory agencies are still using fillable PDF documents to collect information from the entities that have to report to them. They need to make an intentional choice to switch from documents to standardized data, to put someone in charge of the data standards. And as that happens, I think you'll see all three of these impacts of open data: transparency, better management, automated compliance. You'll see all of them having a bigger and bigger presence on the stage. We've seen Checkbook NYC deliver granular information to New York City taxpayers about every single transaction that this gigantic city engages in. We've seen the state of Iowa's payments portal deliver similar granularity to its citizens. It may be more complex to do this on the federal level, but I think those precursors show that full-on financial open data for the U.S. government is possible. And indeed, that's what the Data Act requires. So our coalition, with Socrata's support and with other companies' support, will be watching very carefully and hassling where necessary to make sure that that transformation happens on the federal level. Open data success means having consistent data standards that are reasonably well followed for whatever type of information we're talking about. Open data means it's available, it's publicly available without restriction in those standards. Now, we can quibble all day about what data formats should be used. We can argue all day about whether it's better to have this API or that API, but at least if it's out there and folks can use it and it can be translated into real platforms and solutions for people, that's close enough to success for me. Well, we're grateful for Socrata's support for the Data Transparency Coalition. Socrata is certainly the national leader in open data platforms. Not that this should be anyone's only job. I think Socrata's industry leadership should encourage others to work on this same problem, because it's only as a whole open data industry develops, and it's only as a private sector incentive to pursue these transformations develop that we'll see real change. Socrata's growth and Socrata's strength and Socrata's ambition give me a lot of hope, because they symbolize the growing energy around this transformation.